Alright boys, welcome back to another video. Knicks Daily here. So 2 days ago on the channel, I made a video talking about veteran free agents that were still available and which ones I would like to see the Knicks target. And funny enough, 2 days later, they actually did sign one of them, and that's Landry Shamet. I did not have Shamet on my list. I had guys like JaVale McGee, Kevin Knox bringing him back, maybe going out there and getting O'Shea Brissett. But the thing with Shamet is that, of course, he's played a lot of basketball. He's played big moments. He's a career 38% three-point shooter. He's very close friends with Mikal Bridges. I do like this move. It's a big thing for the Knicks to have chemistry, to have continuity, guys that want to play, want to fight with each other. Shamet is going to compete for the 15th and final roster spot. Right now, we just have so many guys that are going to get minutes. Brunson, Bridges, Anunoby, Randall Robinson, that's 5. McBride, 6. DiVincenzo, 7. Hart, 8. Achua, 9. Campaign, that's 10. And we've got Jericho Sims is 11. Kolek is 12. 13, Bates Diop. 14, I would say, is Chuma Okeke, and then 15 is going to be Landry Shamet. Of course, yeah, like Pacome Dadier, Ariel Hakordi, the two-way guys, they're gonna have a chance to come in and get some real opportunity. But realistically speaking, guys that are 18, 19, 20 aren't going to be able to contribute much to the Knicks. With Coach Thibodeau right now, he's going to be expecting veteran players, guys that are ready to help him compete now that can play both ends. And I do like our rookie class, even a guy like Tyler Kolek. His athleticism is definitely going to hinder his potential this season. I know Jalen Brunson's not the most athletic guy in the world, but Brunson's one of the more polished players in the league defensively for Kolek. So just any player who has a disadvantage right now, it's going to be hard for them to see the floor. And a guy like Landry Shamet, he can hold his own defensively, and he's such a lethal three-point shooter. And three-point shooting is something that the Knicks are never going to not get enough of. With Randall and Brunson, these guys going after the basket, and then they kick it out to someone. Shamet, he's going to be able to step in and make shots if there is an injury or if the Knicks are just trying to go deep in the rotation. I do think it's a very good idea for the Knicks to run as deep of a rotation as possible, because I think the only way we don't win the championship next season is if we aren't fully healthy. And that isn't to say like we lose like just a guy or two. No, we've got to be fully healthy to win a championship. I mean, the Celtics, Porzingis, he was banged up throughout the season and they still won it. For the Knicks, I mean, I would say, I don't know. I just feel like we need all hands on deck right now. And our starting lineup is as good as it gets. We've got a top 5 player in Jalen Brunson, at least off of last season. We've got Julius Randle, who I'd say, when fully healthy, is a top 20 player. I mean, the guy's been All-NBA, was an All-Star last year. And then, of course, we've got Mikal Bridges, who's going to be our third option, a 20 points per game scorer, one of the better wing defenders in the league. And then we've got OG Anunoby, one of the best defenders in the league, can also give you 15 a night. Mitchell Robinson, we know what he brings with his rebounding, his defense. And then off the bench, Devo, he would start for a lot of teams. Josh Hart would start for a lot of teams. I would even say the majority of teams. I think that would be fair. I mean, Josh Hart, a guy who in the playoffs was the Knicks' second best player, can rebound, can pass. He's a very pesky defender. Dante DiVincenzo, one of the best shooters, cutters, a guy who just would fit in on any roster. Miles McBride is super interesting. I really hope the Knicks keep him around. I know we've talked about potentially moving him for a center, like a guy like a Clint Capella or a Walker Kessler, but I don't really want to see McBride go. He is one of my favorite players, and he's just having him on our second unit is just such a big advantage, and he's on one of the cheaper deals, team-friendly deals in the game. I am definitely concerned with Precious Achua and Jericho Sims as our backup 5. There was a report that came out from Ian Begley yesterday saying that the Knicks, they've shown interest, and we've already known this, but he just clarified of Nick Richards. The Knicks tried to trade for Clint Capella, Walker Kessler. He also said to keep an eye on Jonas Valanciunas. I do think the Knicks will make a move for a center. It just isn't going to be probably anytime soon. I think it's either going to be when the season starts, maybe even mid-season. I do think the Knicks will get a center because the confidence can't be too high right now with Jericho Sims and Precious Achua. It just seemed like that was a last option, was to bring back Achua if nothing else worked out, and that's what happened. And it's no disrespect to those guys because Achua did give us a lot of high-level basketball at times, and then Jericho Sims still does have potential with his athleticism. He's been in the gym. He's been working on his post game. I think Sims could have a big year. But in terms of what the Knicks need, that's just going to be reliability and production outside of Mitchell Robinson, because we have to anticipate Mitch is going to miss at least 20 games. So do we want Achua and Sims in those 20 games? Because we could be a 500 team if that's the case without Mitch. I mean, Robinson is extremely important. Everyone's going to talk about the other 4 guys in our starting lineup. But Mitchell Robinson, I mean, we saw what he did defensively against Embiid. We saw what he's capable of when healthy in the first, I don't know what was it, guys, 10, 15 games last year when Mitch was healthy. We saw he was about to have a career year rebounding the basketball. Mitch can completely change a series. We go up against the Boston Celtics. Mitchell Robinson could win us that series. I mean, who's going to be able to contain him? Like Kristaps Porzingis? I think Mitch could give Porzingis a run for his money in that. I think Mitch could honestly dominate Porzingis, and we know what Porzingis can do when he's healthy. But Mitchell Robinson, he's just the type of guy that with his size, athleticism, speed, he can come after the best of the best in this league, and that's something that I'm certainly excited about moving forward. But I mean, outside of that, there hasn't been much news with the Knicks. That's why 2 days ago I made a video just breaking down the remaining free agents. It was more for fun. I didn't think the Knicks would sign any of them, but they actually did. The Knicks did sign one of them, and that's Landry Shamet. So sometimes you never know what to expect with the Knicks, and that's because the moves they make, we just don't see coming. We didn't see them trading for Mikal Bridges. It was seen as unrealistic. And what about some other moves on this list? I wouldn't say, like, I guess, you know, Bakom Dadier was a guy that a lot of Knicks fans didn't expect to draft. I didn't even know who Bakom Dadier was. Not that I was following the draft process, but when he was selected by the Knicks, I was surprised. I was like, wow, he's young. But I guess it was just because the Knicks wanted to get a very cheap option so that way they could pay the rest of their guys. So it was kind of a smart decision that I never really thought of. And then we signed like Chuma Okeke, Keita Bates-Diop. I think was Bates-Diop in a trade? Yeah, wasn't he a part of the Bridges trade? Yeah. So, of course, like the season, I mean, when was the last time the Knicks played basketball? I mean, it seems like it's been 5-6 months, like maybe even longer. So time is going by pretty fast. And I just remember that game against the Pacers, Game 7 in MSG, thinking to myself that, you know, next season is going to be the year. Unfortunately, injuries cut the next season short. We lost so many bodies. I do think with Julius Randle out there, we win that series pretty comfortably. But next season, I mean, yeah, we're chasing the Boston Celtics. There's no other way around it. And that's why the Knicks went out there and they traded for Mikal Bridges, because they realized that, hey, look, we don't want to just outscore the Celtics. We want to defend them. And you re-sign OG, you give him a bag, you trade for Mikal Bridges, you give up a lot of picks. A lot of picks for a guy who has never been an all-star. But the thing for the Knicks is they don't need all-stars around Brunson and Randle. They need guys that can defend, that can score, that are smart, that can do a lot of the little things and don't need the ball. And that's exactly OG and Bridges, right? You know, Bridges doesn't care how many he scores. He just wants to win. He'll knock down his corner threes. You know, Bridges might be the best corner 3 shooter in the NBA. He's going to get a lot of open looks. I mean, of course, there's a lot of pressure on Brunson, but, you know, last season without his Robin, Brunson was historic. He was historically good. And you give Jalen Brunson now Julius Randle and Mikal Bridges. I mean, I think the Knicks are going to be the best team in basketball. We just have to understand that they might not have the best record, and I don't think any Knicks fan cares about that. All we care about is winning the championship. So if the Knicks are the 3rd or the 4th seed, but fully healthy, I don't care. I mean, I'll take that all day, right? Yeah, sure, you might get a tougher first-round matchup, maybe a second-round matchup, but I don't think anyone can beat the Knicks if this team that we're looking at right now is healthy. I mean, I truly don't.